Welcome back to All Things ETH. My name is Aaron, and on this channel we talk about all things Ethereum. We talk about projects, NFTs, play to earn, DeFi, SoFi, and price. And today, guys, I want to talk about my entire portfolio as we get into 2024. Happy New Year to all of you who have been here for a while, and I appreciate you. Make sure to like, subscribe, hit the notification bell for more content just like this. Let's get on into it. So, let's just talk about ETH real quick. ETH has been on a pretty big tear, and we just hit 52-week highs at 24.41 just a couple of days ago. Almost exceeded that. In fact, just 2 days ago, we almost exceeded that, or yesterday even. And but we got this nice little crash here. And I've been looking for a correction, to be honest with you. Got the ETF approval looming, and we had some news today that said it might not be approved this week, which is going to be a pretty significant hit to the crypto market, I do believe, if that is the case. However, either way, I'm pretty happy because my whole goal is to accumulate more ETH and then borrow against it to farm things like airdrops and some APRs. So with that, let's get into my portfolio. I'm going to go through just about everything here and tell you why I'm in it and tell you what my plan is in 2024 with it. And the very first thing on the top of my list is Elephant Money. Now, as far as my top holding, it is ETH for sure, but it's in a lot of these protocols down here that you're going to see. Silo has some wrapped ETH in it, and I'm borrowing USDC in several different markets here. I also am lending my Silo rewards that I've made over the past, and I'm borrowing against those. I've got some wrapped ETH in Radiant, and I'm borrowing against that as well. And my whole thesis right now is that I don't expect ETH to go back below $1,000. So I'm comfortable borrowing up to $1,000 on each ETH that I have in my possession. So I have about, 20, 25 ETH right now in my main account. And I'm borrowing, up to, I think, well, if I've got 25 ETH, I'm borrowing up to $25,000 right now in different protocols and using that to farm. And we'll get into farming a little bit later in this. But so I've got a couple ETH wrapped up in Convex. This was part of something I started last year. I locked up a bunch of ETH in order to get some good APRs. Unfortunately, this Convex, Unfortunately, this Convex vault in particular, though it was supposed to get me about 20% APR, has only netted about 5% APR. And I think that had to do more with the downturn in the market on the reward tokens in particular. Now, we are seeing some gains in that department. So in the very near future, we could see that 5% return turn into about 20% as they multiply. But we got some Frax, Curve, and CVX in there, and not doing super great, but it is what it is. That will release, I believe, on the 19th of January, so we'll be able to use those ETH again in different strategies. We got a couple more of wrap staked ETH. Now, this wrap staked ETH particular is created from GMD protocol, which is a single-sided delta neutral strategy based on GMX. GMX is GLP, and now their V2 LPs are creating these tokens, and you can put them. This is specifically the old V1 token that's getting some about 5% right now from GMX, which isn't terrible. And it's just a nice little way to make sure that we continue to grow our ETH stack while borrowing against it, right? So I do have, I got my WETH here, so a little bit of ETH as well, and I'm borrowing again. And then we get into what I've used with those borrows. Elephant Money in particular has been my largest position outside of wrapped ETH. Elephant Money is on the BNB chain. Now they have 3 specific products. Let's go to Elephant Money real quick. Now their 3 specific products are Futures, Elephant, and Unlimited. Elephant is the token itself. which every time somebody buys this token, there is a 10% tax on the way in and on the way out, and that 10% tax goes to the treasury as a fee to the treasury. So anybody that tells you that elephant money is a Ponzi, they are incorrect, because there is a fee involved. It's not like they're not taking any revenue. They are taking in revenue in the form of elephant token. And the thing about the elephant treasury, nicknamed Bertha, is she is not going to dump on you. She is the largest whale in the ecosystem. She owns more elephant token than the LPs do, and they're locked LPs set up by the elephant money treasury. And then on top of that, she is bigger than any other whale in the system. So she is going to only put buy pressure. No matter if you're buying or selling, she's also taking that 10% and buying elephant with that. So if you sell into the market, 10% of that sale goes into Bertha, and she buys back 10% of that total that you were going to dump on the market. So futures is a annuities type product. I do have some videos about that. Please go check those out in my in my backlog. And then unlimited as well. I do have some videos on that as well. And these are unlimited NFTs. Now the reason why they call it unlimited is because of two things. They are unlimited mint. So every time somebody mints one of these, you can stake it for yield in the elephant money treasury, so you get some yield back from that. I think the current rate is actually rather high APR wise. We just had a big purchase of a lot of these, and they did not get staked. Now that was because we had a $1 million BUSD position in the futures contracts. And I say we, I mean the elephant money ecosystem. And instead of, we've been trying to get away from BUSD as they are sunsetting that on the BNB chain. So we decided to buy a bunch of NFTs, and they will not be staked in the protocol. So they are actually helping those who already own them gain more APR on their unlimited NFTs right now. And I believe we're up to like 70–80% in the market. So even if you were to buy a elephant NFT, which costs 2 BNB right now, and to stake that, you would be getting about 70–80% APR currently. Now that does fluctuate with how many people are minting and how many people are staking them. Now most of those NFTs that were purchased will eventually be staked, as they will be sent to people like myself, who are encouraged to market the platform via Medium articles or YouTube channels, or even participating in their weekly X spaces every Wednesday at 10 a.m. Central Time. So anyway, with that, I do have some unlimited NFTs. I've got a futures account, and I've got a bunch of elephant tokens. So I want to show you that in my portfolio. We have about $1,000 in the elephant money, and this is the futures account. Now I do plan to start a larger futures account. Please follow along with that as I get started in that in the next couple of weeks. I'm trying to figure out exactly where I'm going to get that seed money from. So do stick around and watch that. Now I do have a little bit of Trunk. Trunk is at one point was supposed to be their stable coin. They have relinquished that goal for the Trunk token, and they have made it deflationary. So that'll be interesting to see with Trunk. They're calling this the meme coin of the elephant money ecosystem. I think it's an interesting concept. I think it does have potential, as there is some yield involved if you want to get into their trumpet, which I do have this money in currently. Now, there's a lot of mechanisms to that, so I'm not going to get into the details there, but these NFTs down here are what I have, and I do have 2 of those currently, and I do plan to earn more and buy more over the next year. So currently, I've got about $35 in elephant token, and I've been holding these for I would say 2 to 3 months at this point, and they continue to yield just a little bit of elephant every single day, and I hope that continues to grow. Now, moving on from that, now I do have about $3,500 currently in elephant token as well. The elephant money token does go parabolic from time to time, and has recently seen a correction, and I do expect it to start heading into that parabolic run as we get into 2024's bull run with all of that, all of the new money that's coming into the crypto space. Second largest holding beyond elephant money is probably in gas protocol, actually. Gas Protocol, I actually work for. I'm part of the team. I'm a consultant there. If you're familiar with them, John Yen is the dev over there. He's a fantastic dev and created some lending markets on top of GMD protocols, delta neutral GLP vaults, as I said before. Now we are into the V2 vaults now. For GMX. GMX is killing it right now, especially with the volatility in the market. They're getting a lot of, there's been a lot of liquidations today in particular, so we should see some great APRs over at GMD, which translates into more lenders and borrowers in GMD, or over at Gast rather. And Gast does pay me full transparency here. I do make about 400 ES-GA tokens every single month as a contributor to their ecosystem. We're trying to propel, I'm trying to propel them into the upcoming bull market on the piggybacking on that GMD protocol. And I do actually work for GMD as well as a Discord moderator and I do some content creation for them as well. So they are probably at one point were my largest holding outside of ETH, but I was paid in their GND token, which unfortunately hasn't done as well over the last 6 months. So with that, let's move on to Ribbon Finance. I believe is my next largest with just about $1,200 in current tokens. Now Ribbon is going through a change. If you're not familiar with Ribbon, they were the premier options contract protocol based on Ethereum for really the last 3-4 years. They did some vaults where you could purchase covered calls and cash supplied puts. So I was a big fan of that as a former options trader. I used to throw my Ethereum into the vaults there and would make, depending on the week, between 0.5% and 0.2%. So that was a decent pull in those Ribbon vaults, and I did make some content for them at that point. Now Ribbon is going to have a big catalyst here. They have rebranded into AVO, and AVO is a fully functional DEX where it's a perpetuals DEX and options contract DEX. So AVO is really cool. It actually looks really awesome as well. Let's see if we can get a quick show of this right here. So yeah, you have a full-fledged trading platform, perpetuals trading platform on AVO now, and they are using a lot of the TVL that they took in as Ribbon, and they're putting that into AVO as their liquidity. And they are making some serious headway in the market. They're probably going to pop off here as people understand the transition between AVO and Ribbon. There will be an AVO token being launched in the next couple months. I believe my Ribbon tokens will turn into AVO tokens as they will be locked up for about 3 months as they transition. But I'm excited for that, as I do think the AVO price will do extremely well in the bull market, especially as AVO is going to be a different LP solution for the way this crypto market works. I mean, GMX has LPs that are paid for by the market. AVO will use the funds that they've got internally and their massive coin purse of years of operating, and they do have some outside investors too that are getting involved. So I do think we'll see some innovation in this space with AVO, and I'm excited for that. So that's why I'm holding on to those tokens in my portfolio. I do see a catalyst there, and we'll see where the price is in 3 months if I want to. I have a feeling that I may dump the Ribbon tokens if they were to eclipse the, if this value were to eclipse the value of 1 Ethereum. I may roll this over into Ethereum, but that all depends on when that happens or if that happens, right? So next up on this list is Epoch, and Epoch is the evolution of the Flash Stake team. So the Flash Stake team did relinquish the contracts of the Flash Stake protocol just 2, 3, 4 months ago, and they became Epoch, and they are doing they're calling this an initial time offering. It's like an ICO except for it's ITO, and it's a very interesting concept. I did get these tokens from being a Flash stake holder. So I was essentially airdropped 1-to-1 Epoch tokens for the Flash tokens that I had locked up. And I do expect this to rise pretty quickly here over the ITO period. I will probably, again, hold on to this until it at least hits the same amount of Ethereum as in value here. So if it does eclipse this $1,161 does eclipse the price of Ethereum, I may roll this over into Ethereum, as again, my goal is to stack more Ethereum. But I did pay a pretty price for a lot of my Flash tokens. I did LP into those, and I did actually lose some money in the bear market as an LPer in that Flash stake environment, so I do want to get that back. And I do think I'm going to come up about even, maybe a little bit behind, if I let this run up and just trade it for an Ethereum at some point. Now, this could take off, guys, and this could be a breakout coin for me, but I'm planning to be conservative with it at this point, and yet to see what the team is going to do with Epoch. Now, GBot is part of the GMD ecosystem. GBot is based on the Perpetuals DEX G-Trade right now. And so you can use GBot to trade via Telegram in G-Trade, and it was built about the time that everybody was all about the bot traders and these Telegram bots. And I do think it came out a little bit late in context, but I do think we'll see a resurgence in this as the market tends to heat up here. So I'll be holding on to these. I've had some conviction to hold them until they eclipse $100 again. Now, currently trading at about $18, so we do have quite a ways to go. But right after the launch of the GBot token, they hit about $130 per. And I'm hoping that happens again, guys. I may be a bag holder in this regard, but I am staking some of these GBot tokens inside of the staking rewards and getting ETH rewards back from that. This is only a part of my position there. And so I do hope to be able to trade these at some point. Maybe I'll just end up throwing them into the staking contract and making money off of the GBot token trades. But for now, I'm just holding those, kind of hoping. This is more of a prayer play, if you will. And then again, we'll see. So beyond that, we got some ARB tokens. We've got some wrapped ETH. I've got a lot of wrapped ETH and different protocols, or regular ETH. So Mantle's got some of my ETH. I will be doing some farming, or might even sell all these tokens into the MNT token, as I do think that's going to have a significant run up. The more I learn about Mantle in particular, the more I like it, and I like the team, and I like what they're doing. I think they're a more structured team in the Mantle area, and I think they're going to add a lot of structure to and really develop the apps on that platform with their Mantle token. Instead of doing airdrops, they're doing more of a vetting of applications and decentralized applications, and giving those vetted decentralized applications their token, which then will airdrop into the accounts that use those. So I'm kind of excited to get more into Mantle over the next 2 quarters, probably, as I do see some potential there with new apps dropping specifically in that regard. Now, ARB has had an amazing run up today. I do think we saw $2 per ARB token. In fact, let me refresh this and just see where we're at here. Last I looked in TradingView, we had a $2 ARB token, which is all-time highs for sure. So let's see. Yep, 196, doing a great job over the last couple months in particular, just getting some great apps out there, but also GMX has been on a run as far as the volatility in the market goes, and the STIP, or short-term improvement, or incentive program rather, for the ARB token has been really great for all of the Arbitrum ecosystem, including GMD, including GMX, obviously, and a lot of the Arbitrum ecosystem has been able to airdrop or give out tokens to their users, and that's been fantastic for the ecosystem over the last month and a half, 2 months. So I do have a little bit of AVAX. I don't spend a lot of time there. This is kind of a bag hold from the end of the last bull market. Now I do have some more trunk in in my portfolio here. Now this is just trunk that's going to appreciate. It's not in the Trumpet program. Again, I'm not going to get into the details of Trumpet, but if you want to earn on your trunk, you can throw it into Trumpet long term. Now Aviv, this is an interesting one. I do think this has the potential to run multiples. I got a tip off from one of my friends in the Friendtech ecosystem over on Base. It's another thing I'm farming, and I'll get into that in a little bit. But Aviv is going to help bring normies on chain, and I do think we're going to see a super big influx as Base in particular has in Coinbase. That relationship and L2s in particular, I think, are going to get a large influx as people realize how easy it is and how cheap it is to do transactions on L2s in particular. So I do think Aviv could seriously run multiples, as it is a catalyst for the onboarding of more people into crypto. And right now I've only got a couple $100 into it. In fact, I only put in like $200. It's already down to 127. Probably DCA into that over the next couple months with $50 here, $60 there, whatever it is. Just throwing extra money at it before it takes off. I think it's really, really under the radar right now and has a lot to prove in the future, and that's why I haven't put a lot into it, but I do think I'll throw bits and pieces of some of my yields that I'm making in different protocols there. Again, I got some ETH, a little bit of USDC. Now I did make this $50 from for being a part of a group of people on Twitter that do an X doing threads, and I wanted to shout out to the DAO there, Surge DAO, that I am a part of. I'm so proud to be a part of that team. I do get paid to put together some threads for certain protocols and get those approved through a Surge DAO. And we're going to be doing some more stuff in 2024 and 2025, and I'm excited to be a part of that team. There are some great writers over there, some really big minds, some gigachads, if you will, that are over in that group, and I'm extremely honored to be a part as I'm growing my Twitter account. So do follow me at All Things ETH on Twitter. I'm also on Telegram and Discord at All Things ETH. So feel free to friend me there or invite me to your groups or what have you there. And I'd love to chat with you. Love to meet you guys. Now I do have a little bit of Mantle. It's just gas money right now. I do think this is going to pop off at some point. So I do want to switch some of that ETH that I have in the Mantle into the MNT token. I've got some Curve that I'm bag holding from last cycle. Omi was a big miss for me last cycle. Omi is an NFT. I think Vivi was the NFT marketplace that Omi was the token for, and they had access to a ton of the Marvel and Disney and Star Wars IP. And for some reason, it just didn't take off. I thought network effect. This was a tip from somebody locally that I like and have a relationship with. Unfortunately, it did not take off, and it was kind of towards the end of the bear market, so I should have known better. But I threw about $800 into Omi last cycle, about 2-3 years ago, and it's now at 41. So we'll see what happens. I do think I saw this as low as like $20, so at least we're doubled up from where we were, but I'm just bag holding at this point. There's no reason to be holding it. I mean, besides the fact that it could be something that takes off in this cycle, but again, I doubt it. So I have a little bit of BNB for gas money. I did win some Ohm in, this was a fun one. I won some Ohm in a poker game on, I think, I'm trying to remember who it was. I think it was, let's look at my Discords. So Y2K Finance, yeah, that was it. Y2K Finance, along with a couple other Arbitrum-based protocols, put together a poker tournament, and I ended up getting like third or something. So I ended up getting a little bit of Ohm in a market, and I won it, and it's been great. I think originally it was only supposed to be like $10 worth, and it's already up to $38 worth, so I'm pretty stoked about holding that right now. And I got a little bit of ETH in Manta. Now that's a new airdrop. If you're not familiar with that, make sure to check out either my Friend Tech room and get the link there to start that airdrop. I do think I might make a Manta airdrop video. I'm a little bit on the fence about that, as it could be too late for that. Of course, I've got some OP to pay for gas on OP, on the Optimism chain. I'm bag holding a bunch of Flash on Arbitrum. I also have a ton of Flash on Ethereum. Sadly, it has gone to nearly zero. That token could come back, as this is an immutable contract and somebody could find some use for it. But at this point, I'm grateful to have gotten some tokens from Epoch out of the deal, which was kind of the olive branch that they gave as the team at Epoch left the Flash stake protocol, kind of to just figure out itself. Now there are some people working on that. I believe what's it called now? There's a new Discord that I am part of. Yeah, Possum Labs has taken over most of what Flash was going through, or at least is kind of picking up where they left off. And so if you're familiar with FlashStake, or you were part of that because I shilled it in the last bear market, you may want to check out both Epoch and Possum Labs, as you could be eligible for some tokens if you still hold Flash. But other than that, guys, I do have some RAM. Ramses is a great 3-3 DEX on Arbitrum. Otherwise, a lot of these tokens are going to be rewards tokens and of little value, most of which I've sold off entirely. And so let's look into the protocols again that I'm highly invested in, Silo being the largest one. Silo is the best lending market, in my opinion, on all of DeFi. So it's on Silo, it's on Arbitrum, and it's on Ethereum. I do hope to see some new markets there. Maybe they'll open up on Base, or ZK Sync, or possibly something more modular like Manta at some point, or something built on something like TIA. Who knows, right? But I do think they are the best in the business, as they do silo the risk, and that's the hence the name. They each lending market, it's its own contract, and they are separated. So if there was to be an exploit, it would be a little tougher to exploit each one of them separately. So basically, if any one of the pools gets exploited, it's usually going to be because of the targeted token. That each one is based on an individual token. So you have like a wrap staked ETH silo, you have an ARB silo, you have maybe even a magic token silo. That's a native Arbitrum token. There's some, I believe, a GMX silo and a all kinds of different silos over there at Silo Finance, and Radiant has its own as well. So you can lend the token that is particular to that silo, or you can lend either USDC or ETH on Arbitrum, and I believe it's ETH and going to soon be Curve, the Curve's stablecoin coming up on the Ethereum market. So I'm in Arbitrum. I like USDC. I like WETH. I like Arbitrum in particular. I like all the fees involved. ETH is still expensive. Until we get until we get full-on dig sharding, we should get proto dig sharding in the quarter 1 or quarter 2 of 2024, which will actually lower the fees even more for L2s. But then eventually we'll get the dig sharding for Ethereum, and that will lower the fees there as well. So Radiant is my second favorite. I do have a lot of assets in Radiant, probably a little over allocated into that, more than I would like to be. Just from a security standpoint, I have 4.5 ETH in one lending market, and that does make me a little nervous, as I have been a part of an exploit before. The Euler in particular exploit. Euler was on Ethereum. They got exploited. I was able to get my ETH back, thankfully. Thank you, Jesus. But we are opening ourselves to risk on any one of these platforms, right? As there's smart contract risk, which means any of these could be possibly hacked. Now, A lot of these are super, long-living protocols. Most of them have been around for at least a year or two and have stood the test of some risk. So most of these I've vetted myself and am pretty happy with. Tenderfi is another one. I've got 3.5 ETH there. Again, I said this is part of this WETH here is actually GMD ETH, making me a little bit of money from the GMD protocol. And then Elephant Money Gas and Ramses, as I mentioned before. Stargate is one that I'm farming. Stargate is part of the Layer 0 ecosystem, and there should be an airdrop within the year, obviously, I believe, but hopefully in the next quarter or two, as we run into this uptick in the market. Now, I've been farming this one for over a year now. I started farming this back in January, in fact, of 2023. And as their docs actually mentioned that there will be an airdrop, and I have made a video on Stargate and Layer 0. Now do check that out. Radiant is one of the partners there, so if you are lending in Radiant Capital, you can actually use Layer 0 to borrow on a different chain than what you lend on, in fact. So I've got some of my Elephant Money on BNB, some of the USDC that I've bridged over there. In fact, that USDT in particular was bridged over to the BNB chain from Radiant Capital on Arbitrum, where I'm lending the WETH on Arbitrum and borrowing USDT on BNB. It's a pretty cool mechanism there, using Layer 0, farming that airdrop. And then GND protocol, as I said, is part of the GND ecosystem. I am getting paid in GND tokens. I've got over 200 in XGND, and unfortunately, the price of this continues to drop. And it's just sad to see, as we're in the teens now of dollars per token, when we did see about $500 to $600 at the very top. And the top wasn't that long ago. It was this summer, guys. So we're only 6 months away from the all-time highs, but they were in multiples. Like we're down so much, and it's really disappointing, as I thought there was great potential here. But I think the timing was just unfortunate, with being the end of the bear market, and I think people have lost trust in the GND platform at this point. Let's see if it does resurrect itself. Now, I'm going to be holding these because I do make a steady little bit of income in wrapped ETH on like every other day. I get to claim like $10 worth of ETH here, and I think that will continue to be the case for some time. So I don't plan to vest too much of these tokens, as they're just not worth much either, and it does take 200 days to fully vest out on this. So Aperture Finance is on Manta, and I'm farming there. I'm farming ETH to Stone. I'm providing liquidity, providing a little bit of liquidity in TIA to USDC. You usually find TIA on Solana, actually, and this is the first time you're seeing it on an EVM chain, which Manta is an EVM compatible chain, but it's modular blockchain based on the Celestia architecture. So that's pretty cool to see that bridge there, that TIA bridge being not so much in a coin bridge, but that modularity that comes from Celestia is making it possible to build some of these ecosystem crossovers from the Solana network and the EVM chains. So we're starting to see that now, which is pretty cool. Again, GMD protocol, I do have some ESGMD here staked, and I'm getting a little bit of ETH there. On the regular, Layer Bank is on several chains. Now, this is on Linea, and I am trying to get a Linea airdrop at some point as well. And that's another layer 2 of Ethereum, and just lending and borrowing a little bit here. Made a lot of transactions into their bridge. Paraswap, Greenery, all these different things. I'm just not going to get too much into the details with those, as they are quite insignificant holdings in and aren't really any airdrop situations. So let me get into my Friendtech wallet here. I am part of the Friendtech ecosystem still. A lot of people have cheated from that. I don't blame them, as the experience on the app has been a little bit rough lately, but it is a significant part of my portfolio still. with about $7,400 left in, or three and a half Ethereum left in the Friendtech ecosystem in keys there. Now I've created this wallet for Friendtech, but then I've made it kind of my airdrop farming wallet as well. So you can see I've been on Base, Linea, ZK Sync, mainnet a little bit. This is, what is this? Gosh, I can't remember. Zora. Zora's another one, another L2. Got Manta, some Stone from Manta. We've got Mantle, WETH there, and some MNT tokens, some USDC on mainnet, on Linea. Optimism's got some ETH. I mean, I'm just farming with this wallet, all the airdrops that are the current meta. Mendy Finance being on Linea, I'm providing some liquidity there. And then Aperture as well, just like I am in my main wallet with Stone and ETH. So that's the majority of what I'm doing in those two portfolios. Now I do want to look at one thing before I move on. As far as airdrop farming goes, I have run into a cool through SurgeDAO. In fact, I've been tipped off to the ZKitty team, and ZKitty team is run by this chat, actually, DeFi trader. But let me get into the details of ZKitty. ZKitty is all about airdrop farming, and what you do is you buy their NFTs, and the purchase price for those NFTs goes into the treasury of the protocol, in which then DeFi trader and his team go and farm airdrops for you. So with the purchase of your airdrop, of your NFT, you are eligible for any airdrop that the ZKitty team then creates for you. And so they're farming on all the ZK networks from I don't know, ZK Era to what's the other one, ZK EVM from I'm sorry, I'm blanking on this. We've got, let's look at my original portfolio. We have I'm going to find it here quick. This chain, Polygon, ZK EVM Polygon, right? So they're doing a little bit on Scroll as well. They're doing a little bit on all the other chains that I'm not as familiar with, all the non-EVMs like Solana, and they're getting into Cosmos and all those things. And so they're actually doing a Solana launch in the next month or so. I don't have exact details on that yet, and we will make a video on that when we have more details. But I am creating some content for them through SurgeDAO, and I will be eventually, I believe I'm going to be giving away one of their NFTs at some point. So I'm excited to be a part of that. And it'll only cost you 1 Solana to buy the ZKitty Solana NFT, and that will give you a portion of the any airdrops that the ZKitty team then does farm for you. So they're expecting about a pretty significant return, actually. If you buy the Solana NFT through ZKitty for 1 Solana, Solana's trading at just about $100 right now, and they do expect to recoup about $3,000 in airdrops per NFT. So I think that's in their docs. Don't quote me on that. I have to look at those, and I will make that very clear in the video that I create for them. But I do own a couple ZKitty NFTs that are mining on ZK Sync Era right now, and I will be a part of that mint in the Solana network. Now, I did bridge to Solana for the very first time just a couple of weeks ago, and I have purchased my Solana, bought it at $72 before that big run up to 100, and I hope that it will continue to stay over 100, so I get at least a 30% discount on my Solana ZKitty NFT. Now, speaking of NFTs, I do want to get into my Axie Infinity portfolio. I do have some assets in this still. Now, this is sort of a bag hold from last season or last market. But I do have about $4,000 or roughly 2 ETH worth of assets in this space. I think I did end up putting almost $8,000 worth of ETH into this space in the last bull market, which unfortunately is a big loss for me. I've lost, at this point, about 6 ETH in regards to the value. However, that could change with this bull market, guys. I do think the Axie Infinity space is the most mature gaming ecosystem in all of crypto Web3. And I'm staking AXS right now. We still get a 34% APR on AXS. I've had up to a couple hundred of these. Now I've paid out my my amazing VA, my virtual assistant. Shout out to Tyne for all her help with all my content. She creates a lot of the shorts from my videos here, but anyway, I've paid out some of those, but made that back in the APRs on the staking rewards, and we're sitting at about, let's see, $8 per coin. I think this ran up to about 10 recently, so I do think with once we get through the chop of all the manipulation that's going on in the market with the Bitcoin ETFs, we should see a higher than $10 AXS later on, and I do hope to see getting back towards all-time highs of $120 per token, which would more than that would 10x my current investment, which would actually then, I believe, 2x my initial investment. So there's more of a Hail Mary play. I do like the ecosystem, want to support it still. Going to keep my AXS here, and then I am I have been LPing with Ron as well. Ron and SLP and Ron and Wrapped ETH, 67% in this. This has fluctuated up and down quite a bit, but holding pretty consistently above 50% for the last several months. And I do have about $1,000 in each of these, and then I've got a ton of NFTs in their marketplace. I believe like 65 Axies still. I did run a scholarship program where many people from the Philippines and even one or two in India were using my Axie Infinity NFTs to actually play the game and earn SLP as a living, and we would split that NFT or that SLP 50-50, and until the price of SLP tanked, we were all doing very well and enjoying the process. And I did accumulate so many Axies for myself. Again, about 65 Axies, a bunch of accessories and runes and charms. All that was so fun. But I just don't have time for it now, and the market isn't quite there again to start up the scholarship program again. I do hope to get back into that. That would be super fun, but we'll see what happens. Other than that, I do have a little bit of Gala token, about 42,000 Gala, which unfortunately only adds up to about $2,000 right now, I believe. Other than that, guys, I think that is it for all of my assets currently. I have some, as far as the crypto's journey goes, I do have a bit of ETH in stocks. So I have the Ethereum Trust, some portfolio, some of that in my portfolio as well. The ETHE ticker, which is run by, off the top of my head, I can't remember, Grayscale. That's right. So Grayscale Ethereum Trust, I do think that's still at a discount, probably at about 10% discount right now as compared to the spot Bitcoin price. Now, the way that Ethereum Trust works for Grayscale is they buy it spot and then use it as a trust. And currently, again, we are about 10% or more in the discount area. So that's a good place to buy Ethereum if you're interested. Not financial advice, do your own research. But I do think that will come up to peg as the potential of an Ethereum, the potential of an Ethereum ETF in 2024 is quite high, especially if we see an approval of the Bitcoin ETF in the next couple days. So with that, guys, I think that's enough for now. Let's get back into just my face here. So thanks again. It's been a long one today, but I did want to get through all of my portfolio to kind of kickstart 2024. Now, big initiatives for me will continue to be airdrop farming. I think that's the biggest narrative that I'm going to be participating in over this next quarter at least. And then I'd like to start investing more into Elephant Money, into the futures account in particular. I do want to create a video on that and continue to update you with content from that ecosystem. I think the futures program makes you 0.5% per day in returns, and I think that's game-changing money for people like myself who are looking for a sustainable yield platform that is paid out in BNB, but is dollar denominated. So it's really simple, and as long as the health of the Elephant Money ecosystem is there, we will continue to see a 0.5% each day compoundable back into our futures account. And again, that is much like an annuity. So you can't take it all at once, but it's a high yielding platform, and I'm super excited to get into that. Other things that I'll be getting into is, again, airdropping with the Kitty narrative is pretty fun. I may get into some perpetual DEX farming and with LPs there, as I think we're going to have some choppy markets here throughout the next couple quarters as we get into the full-on bull run cycle. But until then, guys, thank you so much for watching. Like, subscribe, hit the notification bell for more content just like this, and Happy New Year. God bless.